So this is a tutorial on report generation for administrators at satellite campuses. So we're going to go up here to the reports icon, click on it, and we get a new window where we can choose our reports from. And let's choose the payroll. And as this populates, we're going to pick consultants work visits by with a question mark at the end. So we have lots of information here. Up here, pick a center is the academic center, so business, math, tech, science. Now, since all of you do walk-ins, we could just push on the little blue drop-down menu here, and let's pick all the walk-ins. All right, now we have all our centers chosen. Let's choose a date range. We can click on the calendars here and change the beginning and end date, or we can use some canned date ranges. Very useful to do this this week or last week. If you regularly check your attendance in TutorTrac, last week might be a good thing to do. But you can also do longer ones. You could do the whole year, the whole semester. Let's just use a previous month's end of the month. Search boxes. We're going to pick location so we can focus in on a particular campus. So let's try South Campus. Again, the wildcard is the @ symbol. We can get rid of some of these fields we don't need to know. The pay rate, generally speaking, is not what you're going to need to know. Consultant notes. And then let's generate this report. Click on the Generate button. All right, so we picked the last 16th through the 31st. Let's click on Generate. So we see we have the tutor's name in bold here on the left-hand column. And we're showing only work visits here. So we have dates for each tutor. So this would be useful for you to match up your tutor's hours that are scheduled and what they may be putting on the timesheets and what actually is in TutorTrac, because you do want them to match. One thing you can get out of this is to find out if you have tutors who are not regularly logging in, and you want to talk to them about making sure they do that to make sure TutorTrac is accurate. We also see that some aren't doing it at all. We have Stephanie here, Jessica. They aren't logging in at all for their work hours, and some very little. Do another report. Click on the report button. Again, we're going to go to payroll. This time we're going to look at consultant pay by student reason. Again, we're going to pick the centers that are appropriate to your campus. Check with the calendar here. You could put any date you want here. Or we can use these Now, in consultant search here, we could limit to what campus we want to look at. So here in the location field, I'm going to put in West Campus. Again, the ampersand the @ symbol is very important to make sure TutorTrac recognizes what you want to get here. Let's generate this report. So now we see a full list of students that have come to see a particular tutor. This will show if students come more than once. Also give you an idea how many different students are coming to see your tutors. This can be valuable information to decide, is a tutor actually being useful? Is that someone that you need to have on your payroll? You can also examine some of the data in here to see if there's any anomalies. Do the duration of their visits make sense? Are there any strange numbers in here? Look at a more detailed report of visits of students. So we're going to go back to our reports. This time we're going to pick students by, and then visits students by, question mark. Again, we can pick what centers we want to look at. We might also put all here. You're not going to have any group tutoring, you're not going to have any assigned tutoring or distance tutoring, so there's no real reason to not include them. But of course, if you didn't want them, you could just get rid of one of them, click on the X here. If you didn't want to do this, you could clear and get rid of them all and start over again. Then let's choose a date range. Let's look at last month. Now we're going to look under this group visits by. We're going to pick the consultant name. It's down near the bottom. If you wanted to search on a particular consultant, you could put in the second search field here their name. Make sure you use the @ symbol so you don't get a search that gives you no results. And then under the second group, let's pick a location. So consultant location, let's pick South over here in the search field to the right. Again, ampersand or an @ symbol. And it might be interesting to see what course the students are taking in this little drop-down menu for additional fields to add to the report. All right, let's hit generate. All right, so we have a little bit more information. We can see the student that came, what time they came, what class students that forgot to log out and therefore didn't choose their tutor. That would show up in the top of here above the name of the first tutor. So we can look down here and see, well, we have some students that are repeats. That can be valuable information to see who's coming more than once to see a tutor. Also, you might notice that sometimes the subject field is missing, which could be a problem that it's not properly entered in TutorTrac, that when the tutor put in the visit and they tried to find the class under the subject, there was nothing there. If that happens, you want to contact Susan at the downtown campus and see if there's something that needs to be changed in TutorTrac. You could also do a search on Hankins. Copy the name, go back to the original menu here, type it in. Let's do that, for example, and we can take a look at what other visits they've done, who they've seen, and maybe this would give us an idea who the tutor was, what class they were taking. Click on the History tab, and we can see from their previous visits, well, they're all technology, and it looks like this person's taking an HVAC class, which was put in the note field by Sarah. You would need to talk to Susan downtown about. Back to the report. So we can see more detail about student visits for particular tutors. So remember, we saw earlier that we had no or almost no work visits for Sean, but we see that he has plenty of students and on all these different dates. So we know that he's seeing students, we know that he's going, he's just not logging into TutorTrac. Report here. We're going to be looking at comparisons between work visits and student visits for given tutors. So we're going to go to the scheduling, and then inside scheduling we're going to pick consultants, appointments, visits. Now, you're not going to have any appointments for your students in TutorTrac. We generally do this at the downtown campus. So let's pick a particular center. Let's just pick one just to demonstrate how this report works. Let's pick a time window. Let's make sure we show work visits. This is an important comparison we want to do here. And we could also narrow it down to campus. So on the consultant search, we go to the location field, and let's put in a campus. We could also do this particularly on one tutor and put their name up here in this first field. Let's generate this report. All right, so this report shows the tutor's name on the left-hand column. We have this appointments column we should just be ignoring. We have the date, and we have the students that came to visit. We see the time and what subject, and we see the work hours. So we can see that one day when Daniel was very busy, he didn't log into TutorTrac. So this is another nice comparison to see if tutors are logging in when students are logged in, because the dates are matched up here. We could also see cases where maybe tutors aren't seeing very many students, which might indicate that a particular time window may not be a very good time for a tutor to schedule their time. Another report that can give you useful information about your tutor's activities and students visiting them. Now keep in mind, on all these searches where we picked a location field, you are susceptible to having missing data. If there are any entries put in by the tutor, or if a kiosk was not set up properly, you will have visits. You may have visits that don't have the location field filled for your campus, and so they would not show up on these reports. But generally speaking, that's a small percentage of errors in TutorTrac, and those are something you fix and do on a routine basis, doing the searches we showed in a previous tutorial, not report generation. Thank you for listening.